Hey, what's up, you guys? What's up? Johnny Beane here, and it is May 3rd, 2025, and we have a special guest today. We're going to talk some music. So, hey, if you're brand new here, smash that subscribe, smash that thumbs up, and drop some comments below. What do you guys think of the show? And let's do a show right here on what channel is this, Tony?
Hey, this is Tony Franklin, and you're watching Johnny Beane TV.
Thank you so much, Tony Franklin. Hey, let's get the applause here. There we go.
Right.
Let's make this a real show. What's up, you guys? Johnny Beane here, and we have a special guest, Justin Gusmano.
Thank you so much, Johnny, for having me. I truly appreciate it. I love your show, everything you do, and I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome show.
Thank you so much, man. Well, hey, speaking of shows, let's make this a real show. And let's say hello to the top tier of channel members on YouTube. Where is the card? There it is. Channel membership. It's a great way to help support the channel and support these shows. And the top tier are the executive producers. They're currently Music Therapy Laz, Majestic PB and J Cat, Woody Be Real, Flipper Carlin, CC, Bay Area Rich, Sherman Callahan, Nova 9, Warlag, R Habs, and Janice Lala, the intern. Thank you guys for your continued support, being top tier channel members on the Johnny Beane YouTube channel. So, I guess the history here kind of is your dad was on my show. I don't know how long ago that was.
I think it was during COVID, actually, because I remember you did it with him and two other guys, and it was a fantastic show. I watched it. It was amazing, and I can't wait for today. It's going to be great. But yeah, my dad was on with you guys, and since then, my dad and I recorded my debut album entitled Forever Alive, which has been super duper exciting. And just a little history about myself. My name is Justin Gusmano. I'm a keyboardist and Hammond B3 player from here, Long Island, New York. And I started playing music when I was 5 years old. I mean, it's just been a journey from there. I started playing when I was 5 years old. I didn't really feel passionate about it then because I was kind of stuck to the traditional type of lessons. But after that, COVID, when it seemed like a very distressful time, I taught myself how to play piano, keyboards, learning the fundamentals again. And then working in the studio has truly been my I call it my second home, because it's where I, express myself the most in terms of music. It's really the best place to kind of find your creative outlet, kind of seek the best melodies. So from there, it's just been a journey, and recording in the studio is my favorite thing to do. And it's been such a journey I've embarked on, and it's led to this, one of the proudest moments.
Very cool, man. So do you have your own studio?
Yeah, so my dad and I, Peter Gusmano, and myself, Justin Gusmano, we have our studio here entitled Beverly Studios. We record, we produce, we lay down all the instruments here. And I think one of the coolest aspects of working on this record was being able to work with a bunch of great studio musicians. That was the great thing, and working satellite. I know Johnny and I were just talking about it before, but we have some great studio musicians that I was blessed to work with. Of course, my dad, Peter Gusmano, Rob Balducci, Tony Franklin from The Firm, Yoed, Hugo Lee, Trent Williamson, and Scott Foster Harris. And it was mixed and mastered by the incredible James Lugo. He really added his powerful, robust mix to the record, and it was just so special. I mean, every single moment in the studio with my dad was cherished, and it was just a fantastic time. And each song on the record kind of tells a different story about my artistic quest so far. So it's been really great, and I'm super pleased that everyone's really loved it so far.
Very cool, man. Yeah, I recognize some of these names, man. I mean, your dad, like I said, he was on the show.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Actually, at the end of this video on YouTube, there'll be two cards, and one of those cards will be the show with your dad.
Yeah.
Which was I know it was at least 5 years ago, maybe
4 or 5 years ago, around that time, and
maybe 7. I don't know.
I know, it's crazy how time flies, right?
That was so long ago. I think that show was actually in black and white. It probably was.
Probably was, right?
And I think I was in a different room then.
Yeah. Now, see, now Johnny's got like the cool hip studio over there.
Oh, dude. Yeah. It's amazing, man.
I know
You
he's got
know,
it's
work
like
on
pretty.
guitars and
It's
stuff.
like
And
an EVH headquarters over there. It's like
it kind of is, yeah.
yeah.
That's what they say, and that's all good. But Rob Balducci, he was on the show too.
Yeah,
Had him on here, and
Rob is such an awesome friend of ours. He's been such a huge supporter of my music, and it was so great to get him on track 4, Closer Past. He did a phenomenal solo. I mean, when I listened to the demos that he sent back, I mean, I was in awe. My jaw was just dropped. I mean, it was incredible. He has such an expressive way of playing the guitar, and it was so great to have him on that track. Um, and it was just great overall to have him as a part of this collaboration.
very cool, man. Yeah, he's a great dude, and we'll definitely have to have him back on.
Yes, 100%.
I saw him at the NAMM show. It was at least a few years ago, maybe longer. I ran into him. The thing is about NAMM
Yeah.
is, I mean, really quickly, is you run into people just left and right, and I ran into Rob at I want to say it was like the Hilton, because a lot
Yeah.
of times after the NAMM show closes, a lot of people they go across the street there to these two hotels, either the Hilton or the Marriott, and there's a
Yeah.
huge stage, there's music. And I think I ran into Rob actually walking out of one of the hotels. I think it was a Hilton,
Wow.
and so Rob, if you're watching this, got to get you back on the
Yes,
on the
100%. And
show.
we were talking about NAM before. I mean, it's such a, even now, I mean, all these years later, especially after COVID, it's still such a great outlet to see local musicians and musicians that have even toured nationwide. I mean, you could bump into, like Johnny said, anyone. And
Mm-hmm.
although some of those bigger, vendors might not be there anymore, there's still so many great, local vendors that are trying to get their name out there that produce premium products. I know for myself, I'm very blessed to be an artist of Hammond Organ USA, and they have a booth there. And I know that they, for myself personally, my flagship instrument that I use, the Hammond SK Pro 73, it's one of the best keyboards, if not the best, that I've ever used. So they produce fantastic instruments, everyone there. And I think it's such a great outlet, 100%.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is. So yeah, so let's talk about so your main instruments, the Hammond.
Yeah. So
Is it this one?
basically, I've since a young age, I've been so influenced by the sound of the B3 organ, whether it's from the soulful sound of Billy Preston to the screaming sound of John Lord and everywhere in between. The Hammond has just been the quintessential instrument for all organs. And the Hammond SK Pro 73 is the new kind of 21st century version of that giant double weight organ, but it encompasses everything else from organ sounds, piano sounds. It has the most realistic mono synth section in it, and it's got a beautiful ensemble section in it. So those four characteristics already make it a winner. But the ability to adjust parameters within this instrument is actually revolutionary in terms of what it can do. And it's fantastic. It's my flagship board. I used a lot of it on the new record. In addition, though, I used a bunch of different plugins, which the first one I wanted to talk about was Keyscape, which was made by Spectrasonics, one of my favorite companies and one of my favorite plugins to use. It's actually their main sounds kind of range from grand pianos to electric pianos all the way to awesome funky clavinets, but just awesome stuff that they have there. I also used on this record, I want to give a huge shout out to Alan Lobo. He makes the Floyd Keys Deluxe pack, the Rush pack, and the Wakeman leads. I used the Rush pack on the newest record, and he has been so supportive of my musical journey, and his sounds are just so awesome. They mimic the Moog sounds that Geddy Lee used with Rush during the 70s and 80s. Another one of my major influences is Rush, that three-piece kind of power progressive rock trio that it's just influenced me in so many ways, but their sounds that are those kind of synth sounds, they really came to life on this record, so it was cool to see.
Nice, man. Oh yeah, I'm a huge Rush fan. I still notice you use the Line 6 Pod Express.
Yeah, the Line 6, I'll tell you. So I went to a local music store here because I was just trying to find something that could elevate the simple, basic, flat kind of sound that I might have had with a little bit of reverb, a little bit of delay. And I started looking at some pedals, right? I started with the Boss, and I started with this, and I started with that. But I was just going through these, and it was so meant for a guitar, if that makes sense, that it was just so over the top for what a keyboard could be. Because you typically don't really hear of people using a pedal for a keyboard unless you're someone that kind of is known for it, like someone like Derek Sherinian or Jordan Rudess, right, of like a Dream Theater type band. But when I tried out the Line 6, it was the perfect equilibrium of delay, reverb, effects like phaser and flanger, and then also your distortion. But even the best part about this was the online component of it. So what you could do is you could download the app on your computer, your MacBook, your PC, your phone, whatever you use, and you could connect it, and then thus you can edit the parameters from there in order to shape the sound that you're looking for. So a lot of the live performances, whether that's from performing, here on the island or with my dad, I use this pedal kind of just to enhance the sound, and it's a really great piece of gear.
That's cool. Yeah, actually a friend of mine, Bay Area Rich, if you're watching, he has one of these.
It's
and
awesome.
I was over at his house probably a couple weeks ago, and I was actually playing through one of these. It's the first time I tried one, and sounded great.
It's so great, and especially for the price point that it's at, because nowadays it's like you can get such great pieces of equipment for such a reasonable price. It's so reasonably priced, and the sound that it delivers is extraordinary. So I recommend that piece of equipment to any guitarist, bassist, and even keyboardist like myself that wants to try it out. It's a fantastic piece of gear.
So let's go back. Let's talk about your history. Like, obviously your dad plays guitar. I remember when I had him on here, we were probably talking Van Halen guitars, I would assume,
Yeah.
But like, how did you get into music? What was, some of your first influences as,
Oh,
as a
100%.
musician?
So music, I've been surrounded by music my entire life, like you said, from my dad. I mean, he's been playing guitar all around the house. And when I was young, I heard it. And I think kind of the first experience of music, right? I had my little iPad as a kid. I would be listening to all sorts of music, stumble across it on YouTube, right? But I think one of the first people that really, kind of resonated with me in the sense was Joe Satriani. I think the first record of his that I heard was Super Colossal around that period. And that record was just killer. I mean, every single riff on there. I mean, what's great about Satch, and I've been blessed to meet him twice. He's the most kind and humble person. I saw him at the Beacon Theater with the Statch Vibe Band, which was fantastic. I saw him 3 times, actually. Once with Steve Miller, which that was an awesome bill. I never would have thought in a million years I would see Steve Miller live, but that was incredible. And then at the Beacon for his solo Earth tour after the Elephants of Mars, which that's another fantastic album. But to the point, I think that Satriani has a capability of creating melodic passages and melodies that kind of, they get stuck in your head hours later, which it's very, very hard to do that as a musician. That's kind of the inspiration for what my record kind of is about. Like, it's still hard rock, and there's the appropriate moments to show technique, but it's really all about sticking to the melody and letting melodic passages flow through. And that's what Satch does. And Johnny and I were talking about it before. That's why he's the perfect fit for the Best of All Worlds tour, right? Because
Yes.
he can impart his own playing style on it, but at the same time, he knows when to honor, Eddie. It's the best,
Yeah. Yeah, because like we were talking earlier, the last thing I want to see as far as a tribute to Van Halen, especially with Sammy Hagar, is I don't want to see somebody up there trying to act like Eddie, and no.
No.
And Satriani, he is Satriani already. So it's cool. I dig what he's doing, and
I dig everything. And actually, I have a let's see if I have it here, because this record is just fantastic. The Elephants of Mars. I mean, the track listing on this is just amazing. Sahara, Elephants of Mars, Bluefoot Groovy. He really explores a lot of different genres tension and release, so kind of more of a funk thing. But this record just encompasses everything. So for me personally, it's like when I look at this all the way going back to, you know, his first record, Not of This Earth, there's such an evolution to what he can do with the electric guitar. And I think you'll find this interesting, Johnny, because I didn't even know this. He recorded, I think, all of this album with plugins, with actual, no live amps. It was all his plugin set with IK Multimedia. And when you listen to it, you can really think it's like, you know, live Marshalls that he's playing through, but it's not. It was, and he's got a great band supporting him. And right now at the Best of All Worlds, you got, of course, Sammy, Mike Anthony, Kenny Ernoff, which I met him. He's, again, the most humble person. He was drumming with Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney and the Stones and everybody in between. And then Ray Thistlethwaite, and he's an incredible keyboard player, recreating, you know, those sounds. I think especially from when Sammy was in the band around the 80s and the 90s, around that kind of time period when Eddie was starting to use a lot more synths, more Oberheim synths. So I think it's great. I mean, they're really doing the justice, like I said.
Yeah. I saw them twice. I saw them out here, and then I saw them in technically it's Inglewood, California, but most people outside of LA would say it's LA, but at the Forum. Yeah, it was a great show, and they're doing the Vegas thing now, and very cool.
I'm curious, Johnny, what did you think about the new song, Encore, Thank You, Good Night? Because I thought it was, honestly, I called it to my dad, it was like, from Satch, at least, technical fireworks in terms of his playing. I mean, the solo section and that kind of bridge section, it was very Lydian style. It was just so orchestrated.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I liked it. You know,
So
it's original. I mean, it's Sammy Hagar. I mean, really, that band really is. It is Chickenfoot. If you think about it, you know, Satriani, Michael, even Arnoff. When I saw Chickenfoot in 2012 live at the Warfield in San Francisco, Arnoff was on drums for that.
100%.
So it was the exact same lineup, except for Ray. You know.
Yeah.
But no, I thought the song was great. You know, it's just great. You know,
so
it's
cool.
rock.
Yeah.
It's rock music. So getting back to your album though, how would you describe your like the genres of music? Because I heard some stuff, and I heard, I know you play covers. You know, so you cover stuff.
Pretty much this record, it's all originals, but when I go out to play, of course, I love to play all sorts of covers that have inspired me, all the way from listening to Sinatra all the way to some of my favorite fusion stuff, and everything in between. But as far as this record goes, every single song, tells a story, and it's really great. I would describe this record as primarily instrumental with fusion and blues and jazz fusion elements to it. Because I really think with the help and support of all of these studio musicians that really made the record come to life, you can hear different, you know, inspirations and different, you know, sources of playing that these musicians imparted into every song. And I think it's evident. I mean, if we want to talk about, you know, tracks 3, 5, and 7, good friend Yoed played strings on it. It really just elevated it to more of an instrumental type piece. But when you have someone like the title track, Forever Alive, Hugo Lee and Tony Franklin, that's just jazz fusion to the max. I mean, it's like everything in between. But I again, like I said, when it comes to songwriting, the biggest goal for me is to create melodic passages and melodies that the listener can resonate with. And I think that's a really big part of writing music.
So how about gear wise?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have your own studio. I imagine a lot of this was some of this done like in your own studio, and then you went to a studio.
Yeah. So basically everything, all the keyboards, all my keyboards, all my dad's guitars, which I'll talk about in a second, like some of the stuff that he used, and we programmed drums for this record, which was super cool because it sounds just like a real drummer playing it. And once it's mixed and mastered, which I'll get to that also in a second, it sounds just as good. So all of the instruments were done at our studio, except for satellite musicians, which was another really cool part of this, getting to work with people that weren't even in our studio. That's the benefit. I talked about this in one of my other interviews. The benefit of technology today is that we can send files to someone. My friend Yoed lives all the way in Israel. My friend Hugo lives all the way in Australia, and they could deliver these parts back, and then you just put them all together, and it's almost like 4 or 5 guys that are jamming in a room, but they're not. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really, really cool in that sense. But yeah, I mean, as far as gear goes, I mean, like I said, I used all of that equipment. My dad used a bunch of his, his Frankenstein guitars. He used Charvel stuff. He used, I believe, some Fender stuff too, and he was plugged into some EVH cabs and models and stuff, which was really cool. And my dad also played bass on a bunch of the tracks using the Geddy Lee Jazz Custom, which was another cool piece of gear. And I think the unique part to this record is that the last track is a vocal track. I kind of took a little bit of that from one of my favorite musicians, Ace Frehley from Kiss. I don't know if you could see that picture in the back, but I'm a huge Kiss fan.
Yeah.
And it's so great about Ace because his records are actually the complete opposite. It's pretty much all vocal tracks except for one instrumental track. Now, since I'm an instrumentalist, I just decided to flip that, right? But for the vocal tune, I was trying to go with someone that could really just tell a story, because that song kind of tells the story of what my musical journey has been from when I started playing at age 5 to now. And it doesn't seem like a crazy amount of time, but for me, it feels like so much has happened since then. So I felt the need to kind of write about it. And Scott Foster Harris did an amazing job. He was the front man for LA Guns for a little while, and he's just a fantastic musician. He has such a gritty voice, and it was really great. Trent Williamson also played harmonica on that. He did a solo. And I think the last component to this would be James Lugo, who mixed and mastered the record. He's an American Idol coach. He's a really, really cool guy. And he did all the mixing, production, and everything on it. And I could not be more happy with the collaboration. He's the most humane and kind person. And he really supported me throughout the journey of this. And he created a stellar drum sound. I mean, the drums on this record are massive. And he just did such a great job. So thank you to everyone that was a part of it.
Very good. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Very cool. See, Justin, I mean, today it's amazing. I mean, with technology. I mean, look at this. I'm in California. You're on the East Coast, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, technology is amazing today. You can make music from anywhere.
Yeah.
You can get people. You can make a record. I mean, you're proof.
You're
proof of this.
Oh yeah, 100%. And if you look at it in terms of someone like, I don't know if you watched this documentary on HBO, the Yacht Rock documentary. It was amazing.
No, but I heard about it though.
It's so good. Christopher Cross is in it, Michael McDonald. But the one person I want to talk about, Steve Lukather, which if you're watching, hi.
Hey, Steve.
He talks about when he was in the studio with Toto. It was not like that. You had, two tracks, you know what I mean? You had to cut the tape, you know what I mean, to record the stuff. It's not as easy now as being in Pro Tools and Logic and just being able to splice things, and edit things to create the final product, you know what I mean? So it's crazy how far we've come. And I think it's truly shown in, the feedback we've gotten from so many people, and I'm very blessed. So thank you.
Very cool, man. Yeah. Dude, let's see. So we have a few minutes.
Yeah.
Let's see. You talked about some of the gear that you're using.
Yeah.
Talking about the record. Where can people hear this? Where can they get it?
So 100%. So if anyone wants to check out my record, they could go to, I know Johnny was showing the website before, they could go to www.justingusmano.com. They could check out the record there, and they could buy a physical CD like I'm holding right now. And this project, because I feel like music has given me so much, I really want to give back to the community. So I do that through 2 different outlets here. I play at a bunch of different senior facility homes and give these people a chance to hear original music and cover songs. But also, in addition, anyone that purchases a physical copy will 20% of the proceeds will go to a charity that I've collaborated with, Tunnels to Towers, that supports 9/11 survivors and veterans here in America that have really given so much to us. And I feel it's really important to give back. So this project is giving back to them and everyone else around us. So I really hope you guys enjoy it and can really, check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Very cool. Right on, man.
Right on.
Cool. Well, let's see. So I know I think your dad was saying he was going to join us, but
I know. I don't know where he is. I will tell him you say hi, Johnny.
yeah.
I did want to just talk about one thing, which was because I know we talk Van Halen stuff here. Mammoth was another really cool talking point that I think he's creating such great music. I wanted to just point that out real quick. His new song, "The End," is just fantastic. He's going on tour with his solo project, and then I think he's opening for Creed, like we had talked about before. So he's got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and I would check out that song because we were saying the production, the mix and master on it is just fantastic. It's really such a trailblazer, and again, like we said, he's doing his own thing, which I think that's that's at least what I want. You know what I mean? And I think what Sammy's doing is he's honoring the legacy of Van Halen in terms of rehashing some of those songs, but with Joe and stuff. It's really great.
Yeah. No, everything that's happening right now, I think is cool.
Yeah.
Wolfgang's doing his own thing. He's not out there trying to be his dad, and Joe Satriani's not trying to be Eddie Van Halen either.
No.
But it's all great stuff. And I don't know if you know, but I run one of the larger Van Halen Facebook groups.
Really?
And there's nothing but fighting going on.
Oh.
Like, people are tagging me in there right now. I'm getting notices saying, hey, block this guy, whatever.
Brother.
And I don't have a problem with it, with any of it. I think it's all it's all good.
These people can't get out of their their vinyl records from the 70s and the 80s. They have to kind of bring it out of that into the 21st century, where we have these timeless musicians creating new music, right, and playing the old music with incredible musicians like Satch and Kenny Aronoff and stuff, but they're still honoring the legacy. If you want to hear, what I mean, if you want to hear Van Halen 1 and 2, you could put it on the turntable. Otherwise, what I mean, it's like we have some great stuff happening right now in the music community in terms of EVH and Sammy Hagar. It's great stuff, and Mammoth.
Yeah. And there's newer music too.
Yeah.
Like Justin Gusmano. There's he has a CD. Get his CD, listen to his music, and check it out. So as far as like shows, do you have any gigs?
Nothing planned right now, but if anyone wants to keep posted with what I'm doing, you could check out my website or follow me on Instagram at JG Music Studios. I'm always posting new stuff and what I'm doing. So if there's any shows or any new music, because I'm always working in the studio, we're currently working on some new tracks, my dad and I. So always, stay connected, and I'm working on some new stuff right now. So I think it'll be cool to see what's coming up in the future. And I'm very, very thrilled and excited about it.
Very cool, man. Well, hey, congratulations.
Thank you, Johnny, for having me. It's truly an honor, and keep rocking, because Dad and I watch the show all the time, and we love it. So.
Oh, cool. Has it gotten better?
Oh, you kidding me?
Okay, good.
Your show has been like quintessential for us from the start. It's
Cool. Yeah. Because like what you were saying, doing music, and I'm a musician too, and everything, right? But doing this is the same kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
That's like, instead of making a record,
it's an art form.
Doing a show. So you would hope it gets, things get bigger and better, and you progress.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it'll be interesting to watch. There'll be a card at the end of this video on the YouTube side where you'll see the episode where Justin's dad was on here, and we'll see the progression of how much better the show has gotten since then. So that means your dad has to come back.
He does have to come back. I'm going to tell him to come back.
He was supposed to be on here today, but we'll have to get him back on here. We can talk more about. Well, you can come back on, talk about more about your album.
Yeah.
We can talk more Van Halen.
I was just going to say we could do a whole show talking about everything that's going on right now, and Van Halen stuff. It's crazy how much stuff is going on. It's actually monumental. It's really great.
It is. Cool, man. Cool. Well, hey, Justin, thank you so much.
It was an honor to be with you, Johnny, and I really appreciate you letting me, have this outlet to express what I'm doing with my music. It means so much, and keep rocking.
You're welcome, man. All right, you guys. Thank you for watching. Over on YouTube, channel members, thank you so much for your continued support here, being a channel member on the YouTube side. And check out another video here. Drop your comments below wherever you're watching this. YouTube, Facebook. This is a podcast. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, everywhere. Drop your comments. You want to get a hold of Justin and his album. Links are down below in the description.
Yes, they are.
So all right, you guys. We will see you guys on the next episode right here on... what channel is this, Tony?
Hey, this is Tony Franklin, and you're watching Johnny Beane TV.
Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. Click on another video on the screen on YouTube. Check out the video with Justin's dad. That was fun. And we'll do another show again here on Johnny Beane TV. All right. Bye-bye.